program, BelAhdan, a show with an accent for those without one. We all hear now about the Iran deal, the treaty or deal between U.S. and other 6 nations. You know, a lot of people did not read that report or that treaty, and that did not stop them from making those outrageous statements. We know that now the conflict with the new cons, Republicans, and Netanyahu's circus, and Israel's rejection of that treaty. We have here a very special guest that is really monitoring this situation, an Iranian American, Mayor Shahidi. He's a vice president of the United Nations Association here in Minnesota. He's a peace activist. Welcome to BelAhdan.
Thank you.
Jay. I know you go by Jay, and I know you as Jay. But it seems like there is no money in peace. It seems like this is all shoved under the table. Here's a peace program, but it's not supported by, you know, why people are against a treaty that calls on an Iranian not to develop any nuclear bomb and stick with the peace energy program, which everybody is entitled to.
Well, the treaty is the best anyone has been able to do in 12 or 15 years of major disagreement. First of all, going back, you mentioned peace. Peace is profitable in the long run for most people and businesses and entities. In the long run,
and
when
humanity,
you have peace, trade improves, travel, cultural exchanges, but war is good on a short-term basis only
for certain people.
For certain arms makers, people who profiteer from
merchants,
killing and destruction. So war is a destructive act, whereas peace is a constructive act.
I see.
Right now, Iranians, their government, but especially the people, overwhelmingly want peace. With Europe, they've had pretty normal relations for some time now. But with the United States, the overwhelming majority of Iranians want peace because they want to buy American products, they want to sell American products, they want to travel here, and a lot of positive things are happening. But there are people who don't trust the Iranian government, Iranian regime, and it's not because of what the former president Ahmadinejad said, because he was nowhere on the scene before 2005. But like Prime Minister Netanyahu has been talking about regime change in Iran in any way for like 22 years. And then President Bush II got $75 million from US Congress to create chaos in Iran so that the government is overthrown. So we've had plenty of evidence, which means that the Iranian regime, the Islamic Republic regime, has not been trusted for one way or the other by America and its allies.
It's interesting when we say we cannot trust the Iranian or the Iranian
I don't say that.
No, I mean what they say. They mean Scott Simon, which is on public radio. I've heard him the other day, was asking Iranian expert, it's like, who's in Iran we could trust? When you look at the history, when Iranian, they have their issue in the region, they have their ambition, they have whatever, as a superpower, a regional superpower. But when you look at the events that happened in the last 50 years, I mean, the people who cannot trust are the Americans, the one invaded countries and broke treaties and waged wars against countries that did not attack us.
Criticism against this policy of negotiations with Iran and cooperation with Iran and opening up the doors. Most of the criticism comes from people who say we can't trust Iran because Iran is a rogue nation and the #1 supporter of terrorism. Now, let's take that claim, that allegation by itself. Well, all countries, all governments want to preserve themselves, okay? Nations want to prosper and grow and become more powerful, so do governments. And the governments are thinking people, and especially a regime in Iran which has survived 36 years. Now, when they say Iran is a sponsor of terrorism, let's break it down.
Yeah.
All governments help other governments. Is the American government today, or under President Bush II, is a terrorist nation? We gave money to people to go kill Assad. We gave money just to anybody, including this ISIS, the people who formed ISIS, to go kill Assad because we don't like Assad. We gave money to everybody who wanted to overthrow Gaddafi. Yes, Gaddafi was a dictator. I didn't like him either. But the point is, America gives money and weapons to all of our friends. Sometimes they're governments, in most cases. We've had military bases or advisors in over 100 countries, still do. And now, but when Iran helps because of their own interest, they help Assad, or they send money and weapons to Yemen to protect the Shia minority, then they're called the terrorist nation and terrorist supporter. So it's an oxymoron. And the money which Iran has been giving to Hezbollah and Hamas, I don't like it. But Hezbollah are made up of Lebanese people. And Hamas is really representative of Palestinian people. Yes, there are terrible terrorists among them, which should be condemned. However, the people of Hamas are not terrorists.
Yeah, it's politics, you know.
Yes.
I mean, you can define people terrorists or jihadists or freedom fighters.
Beauty is in the eye of a beholder. Somebody's terrorist is somebody else's hero.
And also, I mean, we're not going to give a pass to the Iranian. I mean, they've done horrible things in the area too. And I mean, human rights violation in
human
Iran
rights
itself,
violations, tortures, imprisonment.
But that has nothing to do with the deal itself. I mean, if this deal in any way kind of deter or slow down the Iranian for having a nuclear bomb, so be it. Being a rogue nation or not, you're a rogue nation without a bomb. So why a lot of people against this deal?
If you permit me for a minute. But Iran had signed the international NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, which means they never wanted to have a nuclear program, and they signed it, whereas a lot of other countries haven't signed it.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room here. We talk about the staunch opposition of this is Netanyahu and Israel, which they already have nuclear bombs.
Yes, of course, proven many ways.
So why there is no debate about this? I know they are not signatories.
I think the reason is, unfortunately, President Ahmadinejad made some somewhat derogatory comments about Israel, Israel's right to exist, and questioned the extent of the Holocaust. Those were unfortunate because they gave ammunition to anti-Iranian, anti-Islamic Republic forces. And of course, if you read what Ahmadinejad said, he was talking at a university, he was talking theoretically. He never ever said that he was going to attack Israel or Iran wants to take military action against Israel. He's never said any of those, despite all the criticism I have for his behavior and what he said. He basically was talking about Israeli occupation of Palestine. He was talking about the occupied territories. Within that context, he said that the Zionist empire will someday evaporate from the map of time. It was a theoretical, wishful thinking.
Well,
it never said anything about Israel itself. It never said Israel does not have a right to exist. And I personally have always claimed Israel does have a right to exist because it's really the only country, one of the few that has been established legally, because in 1948, the United Nations approved the creation of Israel proper. That means the idea was to divide the land. Part of it would be Jewish, basically majority
But that's
Jewish.
not what Israel now. Israel is occupying.
And that is what former president of Iran, Ahmadinejad, was talking about, was Israeli occupation of the
and Zionism as an ideology is a racist apartheid ideology. And I'm not talking about we need to separate between Jewish and
you know,
Israel.
there are both sides to that. For example, I personally have done quite a bit of reading about the life and time of Itzhak Herzl, the founder of modern Zionism. And it seems to me that he was basically a human rights activist and wanted to help the Jews around the world.
There's nothing wrong with that, and
Exactly.
I think that, you know, they have right to survive, but not on an account of other nations. And
well, believe it or not, now that the ice has been broken with Iran to a great extent, unless Congress sabotages it, which is likely, we are not out of the tunnel yet. I think Prime Minister Netanyahu and his supporters, including the American Israel Public Affairs Committee and other groups, including Iranian exiles who were in the Shah's government, including some left-wing organizations of Iranian exiles, they all want this regime removed by force, the regime in Iran. They want America and or Israel or both of them go bomb Iran so they can go from the ground and seize power, which is so childish. When Time magazine said Iran has about 13,000 military facilities, most of them underground. Iran is not Iraq, Iran is not Afghanistan. Iran has become a powerful military in the region. Plus, if 90% of Americans are pro-American culture, 90% of Iranians have told Thomas Friedman, have told Sean Penn, have told Sean Stone. These are people who've gone to Iran. They say, we love America, we have nothing against America, we want to trade with America, we want to come to America. So the people who want to sabotage this deal and take military action on Iran are the same people. A lot of them are neocons, a lot of them are right-wing Christians or right-wing Muslims or representatives of Saudi Arabia. So there is a coalition, very small but powerful, that is trying to sabotage it.
How enforceable this treaty? Is this what?
It's not a treaty, it's an agreement between governments. Right.
And
6 European powers who are close allies of the United States, and the United States executive
Russia
power.
is in.
Russia is in it.
China.
Russia, of course, is a European power. The only power, I should say, which is not European or American is China.
Okay.
So,
that's representative of the world.
Since we increased the economic sanctions, and I'm proud to speak as an American, I want everybody to know that, for me, America comes first because I became an American by choice. However, I want to be a fair person. Right now, Iranians have given good faith. They have given up a lot. They have opened up, which their facilities were always open. They never did anything in surprise. All the statements that they had this Fordo plant, which was secret, Al-Baradei was there, and other inspectors were there. Robert Kelly, the American expert nuclear inspector, has been in Iran so many times. Now, what I'm saying is, if we want to have a war with Iran, then I think these proponents of a war with Iran, or these opponents of the deal with Iran, should have the courage and say, yeah, we want war. They're going under the carpet. They say, oh, Iran is bad.
I'm going to have to cut it off because there's going to be a war very soon here. It's running out of time, but I don't think we're going to, you know, this is not going to be the end of it. We'll have you tune in, and this is interesting to watch. Marriott J. Shahidi, Vice President of United Nations Association, a peace activist, talking about the Iranian deal and the oppositions, the nature and the implication. We'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum and God bless you all.